Quite a character right next to you in the middle of the defence when you first kind of broke in as centre-half was the big Swedish centre-half Daniel Mastorovic. He must have been...
Big Dan, nobody ever asks about Big Dan, that's a random one.
There's a reason for asking. There's a couple of stories about this. Better get the music ready.
Big Dan, right, so... When I think about Big Dan, my first memory is he used to come in the morning, get completely naked, and sit like that. Take up about 3 bays in the changing room, and always beside him was Mark Wilson, and never used to say a word. He just used to get like crushed against his locker like that. Never used to say a word. The big man used to sit like that, and he was always smelling brilliant like oranges. I don't know if he'd all the moisturiser and all that on. He was pristine, the big man. But he was one of the older ones. Well, he was the oldest in the changing room. I think he was mid-30s at the time. And Kyle, it was a weird bromance between him and Kyle. It's almost like a father-son relationship they had. So just everywhere you would go, hotels, anything, they two would be sitting together, sitting having a coffee, and it was intense chats, like as if the dad was giving the son advice. Do you know what I mean? So it was always like a kind of running joke. And then I remember this went on for however long they were there, maybe a year, 2 years. And then Big Dan leaves, and I had a song I must have heard or something. I don't know what made me put it on, but I was on the bus. I said, I've got a song for you. So Dan left. He went, fun enough, he went and signed in Spain. And I said, I've got a song for you. The bus went quiet, and I put on Elton John, Daniel. And if you listen to the words of that, Daniel's travelling tonight on a plane. I can see the red tail lights heading for Spain. And Daniel was going to Spain, so the boys are all laughing. Kaya was just fuming, just staring down the bus. Boys were like laughing and then trying to hide their laugh because how raging he was. But the song was so fitting.
Absolutely perfect.
Right, it was perfect.
Did they say anything to you after it?
See the way the song goes, so we're all sitting in the bus.
Brilliant.
And if you listen to the song, it's like Daniel's travelling and it's dead slow and there's music behind. It just keeps going, so it just kept getting more and more awkward as he's just staring at me like, but he's obviously hearing the words. The boys are howling, laughing, and the more you listen to it, it's just so, as if Daniel's wrote it for him.
Very perfect. Looks like Daniel must be the clouds in my eyes. Oh, that's superb.
Look, I can see Daniel waving goodbye and all that. Looks like Daniel.
Oh, that's fantastic. I'm glad you asked about that. Brilliant. Oh, that's superb.
Did they ever get over it?
Never mentioned again. It was never mentioned. Well, boys were like, how awkward was that? It was so funny, but he was like, he was fuming about it. Baram K was like that, took himself really seriously. He was called to call himself the Prince or something. He was if he was chocolate, he would eat himself, Baram, but he was...
He had to flog them every day. Every day.
The boys did go on him, but he didn't like it. But he was an alright guy, he was a nice guy, he was a good player, but he just, he took himself, he loved himself.
Saw a story about another Swedish international that came to Celtic, Freddy Lunberg, the other day on a rival podcast, but talking about how did he not speak after the captain during the huddle? Is that not like a total no-no? I think.
It's not a no-no, no. It's the odd person's chipped in before. It's random for a new signing to come out and say something. I actually saw that story as well. I remember the game, Berwick Rangers away. The grass was harder on this floor, should probably have been called off, and you could hear people's studs after the change room was like the size of that table, it's tiny, and you're looking at Freddie going, he's been at Arsenal, this is not going to be nice for him a day. I think he gets smashed a few times. We ended up winning 1-0, but I don't remember it being the greatest day for him. Well, it wasn't great for anybody, not a great game of football, but I remember the game.
I always feel a bit disappointed with his time at Celtic because he was proper. Superstar.
He loved himself coming up for Arsenal. I mean, I remember, you know what I'm like with the fans, Charlie. I think the fans are great. It doesn't matter who you play for, you should always interact with the fans. And I was in reception at Celtic Park, and he's going like that to the security, go and get my car. And the people were outside in the pissing rain, waiting on him. And he was one of the last to leave. And I've called him everything, didn't I? I says, you arrogant sod. I says, go and fucking, boys are, kids, waiting on autographs. And because they'll get him on the way to the car park, and he didn't want to do him to go and get a car. Didn't want to speak to him. I thought, how ignorant, you're getting fortunes. You're coming up here, it's the twilight of your career. You're just finishing, you're coming up and make some money, and you know what to sign autographs. I can't abide that. I remember he won his first day's training. It was that winter, it was 2011 or something. It was January 2011. I'm sure it was around about that time, was I? And
Lennoxtown was minus 15 degrees up the hill. And there was like no grass on the pitch because under soil heating, and it was just freezing. He had about 40 layers on, 2 hats.
Do you know wear gloves in the summer as well?
Aye, it was freezing. It was funny.
You always strike me as quite a level-headed individual, Charlie. A couple of things have happened to you in your career, on and even off the park, and you've just dealt with it pretty well, you know. But I always remember that game playing for Aberdeen at Ibrox, the Kyle Lafferty incident, which, you know, made all sorts of headlines, and obviously, you know, I think you had your red card rescinded. But what's your recollections of
that? I remember the game. Obviously, Aberdeen at Ibrox, big game for both clubs. Early on in the game, obviously up for it, grew up a Celtic fan, and a chance to go and play at Ibrox and try and take points off Rangers. So up for the game, I've just cleared one up the line, and Lafferty's come in and got me late. And being hyped up, we've ended up kind of squaring up a wee bit. And then he's just kind of went down all of a sudden. We were face to face, and he's just went down without touching him. Next minute, I'm off the pitch, and the VAR back then, obviously, you're off, that's it. You're like, I know I've not touched him, and then you need to walk off.
But the authorities sort of, you know, got behind you there in that occasion, because there's incidents in the past where that's just been left and the person gets the red card stays, you know. But obviously there was a lot of kind of...
There was, Alan McCoy's phoned me after the game. Fair play to him, they showed a lot of class. They phoned me after the game and apologised because they knew straight away it wasn't a sending off, and it was fine. I met Kyle Lafferty in a nightclub in Glasgow about 3 weeks after or something.
And did he admit it?
Not even doing.
I think we just had a kind of laugh about it, a discussion. It was already done and dusted by that point, and it was finished. I mean, he's obviously made a mistake, and that's what happens, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I need to ask you about this because everybody, talks about the famous incident in Costco car park, Michelle Mone as well. You handled that brilliantly too, and again, you were cleared.
It was mad. I went to Costco. It was about, I think it was maybe a week before Christmas, maybe less than that. Anyway, we drove to Costco. My wife, the backstory, my wife had my son, who's now, funny enough, he's full time at Celtic. He's just went full time in the summer there.
You've left him in the motor, haven't you? I'm sorry, I'll carry on.
So she'd been out with him during the day. He was tired. So we got him in the motor, and we had to go to Costco with people coming to us for Christmas, and we went to Costco. And as we arrived, he fell asleep in the car. So we're like, wait, do we take him in here? And I was like, no, we'll go in and I'll just keep running in and out. So as we go in with the trolley, obviously Michelle Mone's there, but I don't know who Michelle Mone is. The whole way around Costco as we go in, this woman's like kind of near us. So you notice she's there. So I'm in and out checking constantly, brand new, fine. Get to the desk, go through my stuff, get outside, and get to the motor, and there's this. So put stuff in the motor, and she's like, "Is this your car?" I was like, aye. She's like, "You've left the kid in the car?" And I says, "Aye." No, I was in and out checking. He's fine, and he was
still sleeping.
Aye. And as we're discussing putting the stuff in the back, he kind of wakes up in the back of the car and give him a wee packet of sweeties, and we're sitting there and we're putting stuff in. So as we put stuff in, we try to reverse out, and she's like, "I'm not moving." I said, "What?" I phoned the police and the ambulance. I was like, "What are you talking about?" So I'm like, "Move." No, I'm not moving. I still don't know who this is, by the way.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to move out of the way. Try to reverse out, but they let us out. Next minute, an ambulance pulls up. I'm like, "You're joking me." The ambulance guy's like, as if to say, "I'm sorry, but this is what we need to do because we've been phoned." Next minute, the police turn up, and this big deal was made to us. And then I realised who she was then, because there was tweets and there was so at this point I didn't realise I went home, and then Celtic phoned me, says, "What's happened?" I says, "What do you mean?" They went, "Well," I said, "How do you know?" The press officer at Celtic.
Had she tweeted about it?
She tweeted about it, saying, "I'm ready to put a brick through this car, and a kid's been left in minus whatever temperatures," he said, "in the car, and made it look really bad. For no 1 second are you going to leave a kid in the car." And
did that go to court, Charlie? Did that go, or did it just get...
That was all dropped, zero.
It got dropped. Everything got dropped. As soon as it was sort of looked into, or any sort of when people heard the story and realised, he get put away. So
She's butting in. She shouldn't have.
Just butting in.
You ever spoken to her? You ever talked to her subsequently?
Never spoke to her, no. And I've genuinely, hand on heart, can say I've got no ill feeling towards her for that scenario. I mean, at the time I was fuming. My head was gone. I was like, why would somebody try and cause this scenario?
Particularly if you've explained it, you know,
and I think
you're in and out continually.
Well, if I'm somebody that's concerned, really concerned, and this is what it was annoying, but if I'm concerned about a kid in a car, like she said she was, what's the first thing you do?
Tell her parents.
You run into the shop, don't you, and you get a tannoy saying, by the way, there's an issue here.
Completely.
That's what I'd do.
Do you know what I mean? Try and get a hold of the parent and give them a chance, because it's clear the parent's still in there or whatever. Do you know what I mean? That's how I saw it.
Her underwear was alright, by the way. Not her underwear, the ones that she sold.
You've got it on the new, haven't you?
I know a few people that wear it, yes.